Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a watch launched in 2017 that is the latest extension of a model line dating back to 1975. This is the Girard-Perregaux Laureato 42. 42 millimeters in stainless steel. It's the modern take on Girard-Perregaux's integrated bracelet sports watch. Now, this one is an unconventional example on the optional factory rubber strap, which gives it a much sportier aesthetic than a formal full bracelet Laureato. So it lives up to its name, 42 millimeters in diameter in steel. I measure it only 11 millimeters thick. From lug tip to lug tip, the case is 49.1 millimeters, but if we measure the end links, the rigid distance across the wrist is 52.1 millimeters. We'll throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, and in my opinion, it's easier to wear on a smaller wrist when it is on the strap. There's more flexibility here, and I can compress the strap down around the wrist a little bit more than I can with the bracelet. You can also see that it's a really low-lying watch that will slide easily underneath the cuff. It's quite broad. I would recommend it for a wrist no smaller than 15 centimeters circumference with an oval profile. The strap is a high-grade piece. Again, I don't see it all that often, so it's intriguing to try the watch on the factory option. It's navy blue, matte finish. It has some character lines molded in along the flank and down the center. It's fixed to the case using screws and bars, which is a nice, secure, and upscale way of fixing a strap to a case. And you can see that the buckle is also fixed to the strap using screws and bars. So you've got absolute security on both sides. Now, it is a double folding clasp. Intriguingly, it's not a twin trigger release. It's actually a quadruple trigger, as each side has a trigger release built in, which should give you extra protection against accidental deployment during athletic and vigorous activities. It's a nice looking clasp. It's polished. It has the GP logo on it, and we rolled the case where, rather than full polish, we actually have mostly satin finish, transverse across the top of the case, longitudinal on the flanks. There's a bevel on the edges of the lugs that runs across the mid case. We have a circular satination on the top of the faceted bezel. And then we also have polishing on the flanks of the bezel, as well as a little bit of a rolled bevel on the sides. Now, the original Laureato, which was quartz-powered, the 4266 reference, arrived in 1975. It predated the Ingenieur SL, the Nautilus, the Vacheron 222. It came before a lot of the watches in the class. Really, it was one of the originals in the space. And while that is definitely factor that recommends it to modern watch collectors, most modern watch collectors prefer mechanical to quartz power. At the time, in 1975, quartz was a big deal for GP because they made their own quartz movement, which was exceptional. But today, a lot of folks are happy to see that we have a Girard-Perregaux manufacture automatic movement beating inside this reference 81010. On the dial, we have a Clous de Paris or a pyramide. We have applique indices. We have baton-style hands and applied a Girard-Perregaux logo. And then we have a disc that matches the color of the dial. A lot of brands forget this detail. You'll also note that the typeface used on the disc is an exquisite custom job for this model, including open 6s and open 9s. The numerals themselves have wonderful serifs, and the watch includes a hacking seconds function, so you can stop the seconds hand and synchronize to a reference time. Of course, you've got that quick set mechanism, so you can rapidly cycle the date if the watch should run down or encounter an irregular length month. Screwing the crown down. By the way, the watch is 100 meters water resistant. You could see the outline of the bezel repeated on the design of the crown, along with the golden bridge outline. This is one of the two iconic shapes associated with Girard-Perregaux watch design. Now, on the reverse side, we have a GP caliber 1800, which I actually like quite a bit because this is the larger and more modern of the Girard-Perregaux automatic watch families. This movement is 30 millimeters in diameter, whereas the more common 3300 is only 26.2. This is a better match for a bigger case. Also, on the 1800, you get 54 hours of power reserve rather than the 3300's 46. You get the hacking, the quick set, there's a micrometric eccentric screw regulator for very fine adjustments, and then we have Edicron, which can be used for fine-tuning of timing as well as beat error, and that's great because that makes for a very precise watch when properly adjusted. It's also a good-looking movement. It pivots, as you can see right here, on 28 joules. It beats away at 4 hertz or 8 beats per second, and it's handsomely designed with an elaborate and beautifully symmetrical bridge for the mainspring barrel. The finishing is world class. As you can see, it's got a bunch of bevels, including on the rotor and the bridges, which are exceptionally handsome. They're Blancpain quality, and I would say that they are definitely finished by hand, probably using a handheld drill bit milling tool, like the type that has a little soft buffer on the end and is guided manually. You could see them lighting up rounded in mirrors. These are not machined bevels, at least they're definitely not finished that way. We also have engine turning on the base plate, perfectly aligned stripes or Côte de Genève on the bridges, circular Côte de Genève on the rotor. All the screw heads here are black polished. We have solarization on the mainspring barrel, and the ratchet wheel is beautifully mirror polished with little beveling on the edge of the ratchet wheel teeth, detail that I love to see. There's also satination on the train wheels where we can see them. Altogether, a very attractive movement. You can even see some of the locating posts for the balance cock and the bridges have been polished on their tops. That's a refinement you typically see on Holy Trinity style watches. All told, a supremely attractive watch. Let's do a quick Lume shot here so you can see how beautifully bright it is in the dark. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.